What's up? Welcome back. This video is looking kinda scuffed just because everything's kinda falling apart right now. My dogs don't want to leave my room, so they're chilling in the background. The window's open, so that might look kinda bright. My light that I usually use for my videos is broken, and so I gotta use my phone light, and like the shadow is kinda weird on my face. Anyway, I'll get that all resolved, but today I'm gonna be talking about my PC. A lot of you guys have been interested in my PC, and I guess it's because everyone that's on console wants to switch to PC. It's just a superior device, like there's no question to it. This light just turned on. Alright, we'll get one last use out of this one. Great stuff. Look how... Oh, my pop filter just fell off. Alright, look at that. We are back. We are looking good again. So yeah, a lot of videos where I talk about my PC get a lot of attention, where I mention my PC in the title, just because obviously people like PCs more. Everyone wants to upgrade, make that next step up from console to a PC. But the issue with that is that a lot of us in this community, just in gaming in general, are younger. Therefore, a lot of the people in this community and just in gaming can't get jobs and can't afford PCs because obviously they get pretty expensive. Well, I'll get to the specs, but I want to talk about this in a chronological order, how I came across this, how I picked it up, how it's been so far for me. So like most of you, I wanted a PC for a very long time. I was editing on a really crappy, slow laptop. It sucked. It was so hard to make YouTube videos and do anything on, but I did use it for around 2 years, just doing as much as I could on it. So eventually I decided I wanted a PC. I set a budget of around $1,400 and I was gonna save all my money. At the time that I started saving, I already had about $500 saved up. I believe I was also 16 at the time, so I could get a job, but with everything that I was doing and my parents didn't really force me to get a job, I just didn't end up getting one. If you're in the same boat, if you're of age to get a job and you want a PC, get a job. It is by far the easiest way to get a PC, a lot easier than just going on famous rich people's streams and sitting there typing asking for PCs. Like, you're never gonna get one that way. Anyway, this story's taken a little bit too long, but I wanted one. I started saving up for parts, started looking at some parts, and my brother ends up sending me a screenshot of some PC he saw on Facebook Marketplace. I was pretty skeptical at first, and I knew nothing about PC builds or parts or any specs or anything like that. I just knew I wanted a pretty good PC. So my brother sent me this specs list. I go into Power GPU's Discord, which is full of a ton of people that are very knowledgeable in PCs. In this Discord, besides Power GPU, there are a ton of other people who love everything to do with PCs. They love building, they're very knowledgeable with anything to do with PCs. So I went in there to the general chat, copy and pasted the specs list, asked if this was a good deal or not. Originally he had it posted for $600. One guy started DMing me and he's like, it's a decent deal at $600, see how low you can talk him down. It turns out my brother knew the guy selling the PC. He went to high school with him. And so he said, alright, I'm trying to get rid of this. I've been trying to get rid of it forever, so I'll just give it to you for $450. And so I sent that back to the guy that DM'd me in Discord, and I was like, he said $450, is this a good deal? He said, yes, that's a super good deal, and you have more of a budget to be able to upgrade your stuff. I said, yes, I have about $1,000 saved at this point. He said, all right, upgrade this part and this part and this part, and you should be good. And if you want to upgrade more in the future, then upgrade this part and this part. And I said, all right, that sounds awesome. Trusted this dude. It wasn't some random. He had like a pretty high ranking role in the Discord. In the Facebook post, he mentioned that he just built it at the beginning of 2019. In January of 2019, he had used it for gaming, just light gaming with his friends, but he wanted to get rid of it. And I'm like, why would you want to get rid of it if you just built it? Like, what is the reason behind this? So I messaged him and he said he had a kid and he just doesn't have any time for it. It's either he's working or he's spending time with his kid and his girlfriend. And I was like, that sounds like a pretty legit reason, like it makes sense. So we went ahead, went down. His girlfriend actually had the computer with her at work. Me and my brother drove down there. We picked it up, gave her the $450, and then she says to us, that her boyfriend said that we could also have this keyboard and this mouse, which I was not expecting at all. It wasn't even in the initial offer, but I was like, all right, that's awesome. Like, I appreciate that a bunch. So we get the PC in the back of the car. I start looking up on Amazon the peripherals that he gave me. He gave me 2 mouse pads, one extended one normal, and then he gave me a mouse and a keyboard. So I start looking the names of everything up just to see if they were any good, see some reviews online. The keyboard ended up being a Corsair K55 RGB AMD gaming keyboard, which at the time was about $60. I guess I should mention the date at this point. It was about middle of May 2019. And I already got this PC for pretty cheap. I'm like, dang, that is awesome. I wonder what this mouse is. So I look up the mouse, and the mouse ends up being the Corsair M65 gaming mouse. And that thing was about $50 or $60. It's still $50 on Amazon today, like 6 or 7 months later. And I look up the mouse pads. The small mouse pad is $15. The big mouse pad is $25. So not only am I getting a PC for $450, but I'm also getting about $150 of accessories and peripherals just thrown in for free. I get home, I plug in the PC, it's a super simple setup, fire it up, first thing I do, download Fortnite, you know I gotta do it. And since then, I haven't even upgraded anything. I've been a little nervous to take everything apart and be switching out pieces and stuff just because I don't know enough about it. And from day one, it has worked flawlessly. So here are the specs. It is an AMD Ryzen 5 2600 6-core at 3.85 gigahertz. The GPU is an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1060 3GB. I have 16 gigabytes of RAM, 2,250 gigabytes of storage. I have a 2TB hard drive and a 250 gigabyte SSD, and it's operating on Windows 10 Pro. Obviously, the main game I play on is Fortnite. Looking at the graphics settings, I run on Fortnite with my PC. 3D resolution is at 100%, view distance is on Epic, but all the other graphics are on off or low. And this is so I can get the best frames possible with my PC. Plus, I don't even think this makes the game look that much better, and it decreases performance a bunch if you have all these on high or ultra. And for my FPS, I cap at 144. Now this is more than double what a console caps at. A console caps at 60 FPS, and honestly I didn't even pay too much more for my PC than I would a normal console. And as you can see in game up in the top right hand corner, just looking around my island, it stays at a fairly consistent 144. It doesn't stray away from it too much. Which is pretty awesome, so I cap it there. I do also use a 144 hertz monitor, so I don't really technically need to go above 144 frames per second anyway. But let's turn this up all the way to unlimited and just stare out in the distance and see what kind of frames we are getting. So as you can see, we're right about 200, just a little above 200 it looks like. About 220, 230 is what it's going in between. But that's obviously the least intensive graphics you can have, just staring out into the abyss in Fortnite. So skydiving in, we're still at about 200 frames. I'm gonna make my HUD scale bigger just so you can see this better. But as you can see, it's sticking right around 200 frames. And I say it right around 30 ping in creative. In pubs, that's all the way up to about 60 or 70. And my frames obviously aren't this good in pubs. But let's see what happens if I turn all my graphics to epic or high. And you see how much that dropped? I'm now sitting at right around where a console's at. I'm sitting right around 60 or 70, which is not good at all. Do you see how choppy that looks now? So obviously being on high, and I don't even think it makes the game look that much better. I prefer those on off or low anyway. I think it looks better like this. I like the look of it more. Plus, you get way more frames per second, so that's pretty nice. For those of you that can't afford those $1,500 super expensive PC builds, I definitely suggest looking at buying used. Make sure the seller has legit reason for selling, and get some advice on the PC, get some advice on the purchase in a Discord like Power GPUs. Ask around, send in the specs list, see if it's a good buy or not, and you could end up with a pretty cool story as I have shared today. I would go as far as saying this PC has been the best purchase I've ever made. Going from PS4 to this thing, I've been able to actually stream using overlays like this. and do cool stuff. Like I'm able to have alerts and stuff like that on my streams. Whenever I get bored, I'm able to surf the web and just go on and do whatever I want instead of pulling out my phone. I'm able to edit videos with such a less headache and just way more effectively. And my skill in Fortnite has just shot up because of all the specs and how smooth everything runs. All for $450 plus this keyboard and mouse and all this stuff. I got a crazy good deal. If you guys would like a little tour on the rest of my setup, I got a bunch of other stuff like my monitor, my webcam, my mic, my mouse, keyboard. I kind of already told you guys about that. But just the rest of all of my stuff, I would gladly do a video on that. And yeah, as always, if you guys did enjoy this one, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe for more. But yeah, that'll be the end of this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you in the next one.